Hi folks, this is Chris Voss from the chrisvossshow.com, thechrisvossshow.com, now on iTunes, the iPhone app, and you can download us, of course, on our podcast. I want to welcome you to another installment of some of the things I'm talking about that are important to being entrepreneurs, whether you're starting your company online or whether you're starting your company in your business. Some very important aspects, and some of these things I've been taking lately from some of the clients. We have clients around the world with strategics1.com consulting, and I see a lot of patterns, so I'm trying to kind of use some of my experience with them to share with you and maybe help you save some of the brain damage that other folks have gone through in the past. So I was going through some of my old boxes. At one point, we had about 4 storage unit of office supplies. We were kind of like our own office max there for a while, and we still retain some of these different things. We have these old brass lettering that used to stick to the wall of some of our different offices, and they were always kind of fun to have around, very heavy. So we're going to call this blog post. This blog post is being brought to you by the letter P, if you would. Let's see if I can hold that well. You know why I'm not on Howie Mandel's show. Obviously, I'm not that good at it. So brought to you by the letter P, and the letter P is brought to us for the word plan. Plan and visualize your expectations as an entrepreneur. So one of the things I want to talk to you about planning and visualizing. Recently, the New York Jets, if you're familiar with NFL football, I might alienate some of the women there, but stick with me on this. There's several cases of this in real life. Have had visions of what they want their future to be. Now, up until the playoffs recently that have taken place, the last 2 or 3 games, the New York Jets were deemed as an underdog for the Super Bowl and to win the playoffs. They have a rookie coach. They have a rookie quarterback who's just out of college, and no one thought that they would ever make it through the playoffs or to the point that they achieved today. Now, interestingly enough, Coach Rex Ryan gave the team a visualization, if you will. He gave them an itinerary, a plan for every game that they were going to win through the playoffs, up to the Super Bowl, winning the playoffs, and then going to the parade thereafter. They actually have an itinerary planned out to win the playoffs stage by stage and go to the parade after they win the Super Bowl. And everyone's expected to be, I'm sure, at the itinerary when they win the Super Bowl, or if they win the Super Bowl, depending upon how you want to look at it. Now, what's really curious about this scenario is, to my knowledge, they may be the only team that I've heard of through the news that has given their team, has a coach that's given their team this sort of program going all the way through to the end and on to the parade. So what's really cool is the New York Jets have won the last 2 or 3 games of the playoff season. Very surprising so to very many people who didn't see that happening. So visualization, neurolinguistic programming course it's used in, is very important to achieving your goals, to achieving your plans and your expectations, and making things work for you. So it'll be interesting to see how they play out, but I would suggest this at the very bottom line. I don't want to offend any New York Jets fans here. I would say that the New York Jets probably got a lot further because they could visualize in their own mind the potential they could get to the Super Bowl. Whether or not they get there is, I'm sure, up to them. So, but I would suggest to you they got a lot farther because they were striving for that perfection. Now, if you're an entrepreneur, there's several things that you need to do. You need to visualize and plan for your future. You don't just need to do a small business. I want to do something, that's small. If you're not a business that's growing, you're dying. The bottom line, anytime if I don't see the revenues going up on any one of my companies every single month, or at least on a consistent basis that we can, initialize, like there might be a bad month because we did reinvestment in some property or reinvestment in some marketing, and we're going to see that return on investment come down the pike, that's fine. But for the most part, I need to see my companies growing, because if they're not growing, they're dying. So it's very important you take that perspective back from you. You can't just start a company and half-ass it. You really need to build it, and you need to go for it. Now, you may not become a Fortune 500 company, you may not become a Fortune 100 company, but having the visualization, the plan, will get you a lot further. When I started my companies, I started out very early on. I think my first company was at 18, and one of the first things I started studying was Harvard business theory, studying the business theory of running large companies and how to operate them, how they worked, marketing, all that sort of good stuff. I prepared myself for when my companies went from a very small company to a very large company with hundreds of thousands of employees. And I got ready for all the different things that I had to take place in. The first sexual harassment deals I'd have to deal with, the first lawsuits that I'd have to deal with. One of the things about being big is, unfortunately, it brings a lot of different challenges to you, but that can be sometimes part of the fun. That can be sometimes part of the things you have to overcome. As you get larger, you build multi-millionaire companies, you become successful. So you need a plan and learn how to overcome these things, how to deal with them now, because the worst thing you can do is be in that situation where you're trying to build your company and you have not prepared or planned or visualized for the future. So when you build your plan, when you build your visualization, make sure that you're equating, where are we going? What do I see this company becoming? Maybe you think it's too much of a dream, but dream it. Dare to dream it. Most people have. Dream what you think your company is going to have. Deal with some of the issues that you think you're going to have. Managing employees. I mean, you want to talk about dealing with employees and people with issues, people with non-issues, and good employees, bad employees. Oh my God! I mean, I could give you stories for 10,000 hours of employees. Okay, so being an entrepreneur, there's a ton of challenges. Infrastructure issues, getting stuff from flow from one end to the other of the warehouse, getting your shipping done, getting your product development done. There's a ton of stuff that you're going to have to deal with as your company gets larger and larger, and as it gets larger, you get more and more out of control. So you have to find people that can build your company and help you and manage it right and work with you and partner with you, et cetera, et cetera. So make sure you plan and visualize for all these things. You can't obviously plan for everything, but my suggestion to you is please try. Taking the attitude that, okay, what do I need to learn as I need to grow? Now, given I've studied or owned a lot of different companies, we've invested in a lot of different companies that we've had. So if you don't use it for this company, or this company doesn't work out, whatever project you have, you can convert it to the next company that you're going to take business in or take an interest in. So see yourself now as a huge company, and where you're going to go from that desktop table that you might be at today to a very large company, and how are you going to get there, and what steps you're going to take. And visualize what your dream, what your future is in the head. Because if you visualize it and you dream that it's going to be small, it probably is always going to stay small. And remember, if you're not growing, you're possibly dying. So let me ask you, what business plan are you visualizing right now for your business? Take some time to sit down, think about it, and always keep it at the forefront of your mind. Give about 2 or 3% of your day every day to ask yourself, where's my business going, where is it headed, and where am I leading it? Thank you very much. Bye-bye.